me throw another layer down. And we'll choose another texture to go over everything, I think. So maybe this one. So I'm going to scale the model down so I can get a better view. I'm going to move these up a little bit and out of the way. And I'm going to scale up this texture just a touch. I'm working on a new layer. I'm going to go over everything now. Don't freak out, this is just because it's on a new layer, we haven't destroyed any of the work we've already been doing. And I'll show you what I'm going to do in just a sec. Okay, we'll back that down. And now, let me just scale this texture down so it's not quite in our way. We're going to move the model back into the center. So now by throwing that texture on it, it's just broken everything up a little bit more. I'll turn it off and show you the difference. See, off and back on again. It's lightened the texture up, hasn't made it quite so dark, and it's creating a bit more interest and a bit more variation in the darker areas so they don't all look quite the same. We can go one step even further. Throw a new layer down. You can have as many layers as you want, just like Photoshop. You should always work in layers because it's non-destructive and you can remove it if you don't like it. Just throw that on there and see what it's like. Now this is an interesting texture and it could make a really interesting look. Or it might not. But again, it doesn't really matter because, like I said, it's a layer, so if we don't like it, we can remove it. So I'm going to throw that down. So basically all you're doing is building up layer by layer. You're not trying to paint every little piece of detail in the one texture. And because it's in layers, you can go back and remove it if you don't like it. So always work in layers. Might throw that one there like that. Alright, bake that down. I'm just going to reduce the size of that texture so we get a better idea of what we're doing. And again, we're just going to pull it back a little bit so we have a look that we like. I'm just looking for a bit more variation in the light grey areas on the step. Okay, something like that. Alright, let's do a save, just in case. And let's have a look at the step. Alright. And again, this texture is going to be overlaid on top of our original texture, so it's not going to look that grey because the original texture has more of a brown tint to it. This is just going to add some dirt and interest to the original texture. So what are we going to do here? We're going to export flattened, export all layers. We will go to our stairs folder. I think I'll save this one as a TGA again. Alright. I think that's our texture there that was just saved out from Mari, so let's pop into Photoshop real quick. Okay, let's open up our original texture. For the stairs, which was, I think, this one here. Let's open up the color map we just created. Okay, now you notice it's not covering all of it because we only textured the front of the step. So Control A, Control C, Control V. Now darken and multiply. Multiply might be better, I think. We can always knock it back if we think it's too dark. Burn, nope. Sorry if you hear some tapping, guys. There's something going on outside. They're doing some work. Lighten, nope. Screen, nope. Maybe an overlay, maybe not. I think we might go back to a multiply. Just pull it back a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to resave this again as another texture, and we'll use Targa again, I guess. We'll call it stairs. Call it stairs diffuse. There we go. 24-bit is fine. Now we'll go back to 3D Studio Max. We'll open up the material editor and we'll change the stair color texture to the one we just created. So stairs diff with diffuse. Alright, now it's loaded into Max. I can work in Photoshop and we can tweak it. So because I don't want to destroy the original layer, I'll make a duplicate, remove the original. Let's work with the layers levels a little bit. Maybe something like that. You could save this as a PSD file and work with the original PSD file as well, if you prefer. Max handles PSD files perfectly well. I work in Targa just because that way when I upload the model online to the Creative Market or Cornucopia 3D, I provide the Targa file that's ready to go. I don't have to do any exporting from Photoshop from PSD files. I mean, particularly with Cornucopia 3D, they actually prefer JPEGs, so it's looking a bit better now. We've just got a bit more variation, a bit more dirt happening on the front of the steps. Alright, let's move on to the step tops, I think. Let's do a quick save. It makes a little while to save because the Terrace is quite a big file. Alright. Let's save this out. And go with a new model. Okay, this one's going to be called Step Tops. Step Tops OBJ, open, create at 2048. Okay. We'll just check our UVs to make sure that they're there, and they are. Alright, let's have a look here. So we know because they're coming down, they're going to be like just trying to work out which one is the top and which one is the bottom. So it's like that. Alright, it's like that. And I know that because the top of the step is smaller than the base, so in 3D Studio, in Max that is. The model when it's in Max. Right, let's move it up a bit. There we go. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to import some textures. These have to be re-imported for every new project because it Murray stores the texture files with the projects that you're working on. It's not like a universal texture directory. That way you can just keep the textures in here that are relevant to the project you're working on. Okay, now let's see. What do I want to put on top of the step? It's an interesting texture. It might be good. Again, because we've got a layer, it doesn't matter if we don't like what we've got. We can always change it. And I can just paint it directly on top like this. Again, because we've got masking on, those red areas won't pick up any of the texture, so there won't be any stretching happening. Hi, Wide Super Monkey, cool name. How's things? Thanks for popping into chat and saying hi. Just going to bake that down. You're welcome. Thanks for watching the stream. Okay, we'll throw a bit of the texture through here. Maybe a bit down here. Again, because I'm putting this on a layer, we can blend it into as many other layers as we like. It's not really going to make a difference. All I'm really looking for at this stage is to make sure that the underlying layer here doesn't have too much repetition happening. Again, even that can be hidden in when we start playing around with the layers. Okay, let's just bake that down. Alright, we're going to throw another layer on. And let's do what we're going to do. Actually, before we do that, because you will see the front of these steps, You won't see the sides because they're up against the side of the stairwell on each side, but you will see the front. You won't see the back, but you will see the front. So what we might do is rotate this around a bit. Actually, I want to go back into flat mode so I can see what I'm doing. That's okay, it's actually painted down through across the front. I do want to texture the front separately in just a second with a different texture, but I just want to put a bit more interest into the top here first. So while we're back on layer 2, which is our new layer, let's add a bit of variety to break it up a bit, just add an overall dirtiness to it. And we can do that easily by finding a texture that's blotchy. Before I do that, I just want to save. All right. Let me have a look at this texture. No, I don't like that one. No, not for this one, not that one. Maybe. Don't want to go super large because the larger I scale this texture up, the more pixelated it's going to become, and I want to try and avoid that if I can. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to bake what we've done down. I'm going to pull in on the model so it takes up more of the screen. We're in layer 2, so we're not going to affect the layer underneath of it. And we're going to paint over it here like this. Alright, move that over and just paint those edges out. Bake that down. Move the model over. Paint out these sides. Okay. Bake that down. We're going to continue on. Bake that down. Move the model. Bit that I spotted that I'd forgotten to do there. Okay, bake that down. Move the model. Well, it's a good career to get into. Wide Super Monkey, yeah, for sure. And in the meantime, you can mess around on the computer at home, put some stuff together. The sooner you start, or the younger you start, the better you'll be in the long run because the more practice you'll have had. So you actually want to do 3D modeling as a career, or you want to do game stuff? What sort of 3D do you want to do? Again, for advice, you have to tell me what sort of 3D work you want to do. You just want to be a 3D artist, or at a game studio working in films. Okay, now let's scale that texture down a bit. Move that here and scale it down so we can get a better view of what we're looking at. Let's see now. Game design, cool. Well, what for advice? Let me think. I used to be in games development myself. I worked for a game studio here in the city that I'm living in. I used to be an environment artist. So tell me though, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a general 3D artist? Do you want to do environment art? You have a preference for anything like that? Character artist, maybe? Cool, that's what I used to do. I was an environment artist as well. Okay, what advice can I give you? Well, obviously, practice as much as you can. You know, do as much work at home on your PC as you can. There's a lot of great 3D software programs that are free, like Blender. You can create your models in Blender, and even the Unreal Engine. They provide a wonderful engine for you to use. It's free, so download it from Epic Games. They have a lot of tools built into it for creating environments, so that'll really help, and it's something you can do straight away. Like I said, Blender, if you just want to start creating 3D models on their own, you can't really do that in the Unreal Engine. It's more for putting the models into, but you can create environments in the Unreal Engine. What else? They actually have assets as well, like trees and plants that you can that come as part of the engine, and when you download it, so you can mess around with that, create a few cool things. Again, you really want to work on it as much as you can in your free time, so that when you do leave school, or if you want to go on to study game design, you've got a really good grounding in 3D itself, and that'll really help you. I think I started doing 3D, well, I've been doing 3D now for more than 10 years, but I started when I was about, how old would I have been? About 22, I think, so I was quite late to doing 3D. I'd always mucked around with it at home, but as a profession, it wasn't until I was around 22 that I started doing it. So yeah, download Unreal and download Blender and play with them. You're welcome to. Okay, let's throw another layer on there, and because you can never have too many layers. And see if we can just give it a little bit more of a difference, a bit more interest. Don't want to get too nuts here, but just add a bit more variation. Maybe to the edges here, because this is where it butts up against the side of the step, so you're going to get a lot of dirt and grime building up naturally. So it's probably a good idea to simulate that in the texture a little bit by darkening up the edges, and we'll do that with another texture on another layer. So let's see here. No problems. Well, thanks for popping in. Good luck with your essay. All right, now what texture am I going to use for the sides? Let's see. Textures. Dirt. Let's pull in a few more textures for me to choose from. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, let's start up some music again. All right, where were we? That's right, we wanted some dirt texture on the side of the stairs here, so let's see, we're on a new layer, which is good. Now the reason these circular textures will be good is because the stairs have a slight curve to them, so using a circular texture will look a little bit more natural. Don't really like that one though. What about this one here? No, I don't really like that one. Not grabbed with that one either. Not grabbed with that one either. What about this one? Maybe. Maybe. Let's see how it goes. We can always remove the layer if we don't like what we've got. So it's not really a big deal. Just trying to think how I want to lay this down. No, we've got nothing on that layer, that's good. Right, that's the second layer, so let's throw this down. We'll bake that down. Bake that down. And bake that down. What I'm trying to do here with this is just to make it look as if there's a dirty edge to the sides of the stairs where it meets the banister rail on the side of the stairwell itself. Bake that down. You could, instead of using an alpha texture like I'm using here, you could do it just with the white paint if you want it. In the program here it actually has painting tools. You could just choose a white color, a soft brush, and paint it through the edges. I just find using an alpha texture gives it a little bit more interest than just painting it on by hand with just a straight color. Let me rotate this a little bit, I think. We're going to have to fix that hole in the middle there. We don't want that. Easy to fix. Looks like that. And like this. It didn't want to do that, so let's just do that like that. And bake that down. Alright. I'm just going to rotate my texture back to straight and move it out of the way here. Now let's play with the blending modes a bit. Darken, new, add. So this is an interesting one. With these alpha textures with black on white, you can do an add or you can do a multiply. If you do it in an add, it makes it look like lichen is growing on the step. If you do it as an add, it makes it look like dirt is built up. So, and you can use both of them at the same time, which is what I may end up doing. But for the moment, let's see what we've got here. Overlay, soft light, now an adjustment stack in Mari is similar to things that you'd find in the Unreal Engine and their material editor, not so much in Photoshop, although some of them are available in Photoshop. What I mean is I'll demonstrate that here by putting an adjustment layer on the layer we're working on now. I'm going to put an invert layer on it, and you see how that's inverted. What was black is now white, and what was white is now black, and that's giving us this look that we were going for along the edges, which is just to make it look as if dirt is built up and grime is built up on the steps themselves, on the side of the steps. If we think it's too dark, we can always dial it back a bit like this, which you'd probably want to do. You don't want it to be really dark. What else do we want to do here? Let me see. Let's have a look at the front of the step itself. Yeah, we might do some work on the front of the stairs here too. So let's zoom right in so we've got a good view of them. And I want to add, I'm going to add on another layer again. I want to add dirt that looks like it's run down the front of the stairwell here from water that's been falling over the top of the stair and running down the side here, the front of it. So for that we want another alpha. Maybe you. You should work alright. Let me just scale it, rotate that back into position. What is anything better though? What we might do is we might there's a few here that'll be good for it, so we'll mix and match them up a bit as we go down the stairs. So anyway, let's get to work on the front here. And again, because we're using a mask in the program, you're not going to be painting on the top of the step here, so don't worry about any of this overflowing and stretching across the top of the stair. Just bake that down. You see that alpha prevents it from being painted on anything apart from what we're directly looking at the front here. All right. Let's just rotate that a bit. Bake it down. And the end just here. And bake that down. All right, let's move down to maybe here. And bake that down. Now we'll bake that down. We're also going to do a quick save just to be on the safe side. All right. We'll bake that down. Let's pull out another texture, I think, just for a bit of variety. Let's see what you look like. All right, you're not bad either, so we'll bring you up a bit. We'll paint you in. Bake it down. Bake it down. Bake that down. bake you down, and finish you up there like that. Bake that down. Alright, let's go with something a little different again, I think. No, not that one. No, not that one. This one could work. The reason I'm swapping out textures is just to give it a bit more variety. So when you're viewing the stairs from the front of the model, or you're doing a render from the front of the model, it looks a bit more interesting, a little bit unique. And that's it like that. And bake that down. No, not that one. Maybe this one could be interesting. You just have to be careful because this one has quite a distinctive object in it, so, and which will really show up if it's repeated. So, but you can work around that just by painting over it whenever you get to that object there. So, like that. And again, we want to probably just paint over that there like that. All right. Move you there. And we'll paint that out there like that. And we'll paint that out like that. And then the last step at the end here, well, the end of this step, not the last step. So paint that out there like that. And I'll just get rid of that by making it dark. All right. Let's choose another texture. This might be interesting. Maybe not. Might go back to one like this, I think. Bake that down. You'll notice now, when I'm painting this texture, for instance, I'll position it here and I'll paint along to get the top, like that. But when I move it, I also move the texture and move it up so I don't have quite so much white and I have more black, so that just gives it a little bit more variety. It makes it less likely that you'll notice that you're repeating a texture. Even though once it's turned into like more of a dirt texture, it won't be quite as noticeable anyway. Bake that down. What do you like? Again, you're not too bad, we can use you. Okay, bake that down. Let's just move the model a bit. Okay, bake that down. A lot of moving and baking. Move the model. And a bit on the end there like that. Okay. May move you down to here and start